Welcome to the Local Marketing Institute Q&A Live with myself, Ben Fisher from Steady Demand. You can reach me on Twitter at The Social Dude, and my fabulous co-host and good friend here, Greg Gifford from Search Lab Digital at Greg Gifford. Follow us, please, on Facebook. Get involved. Get engaged, too, by the way. We're at 2.2 thousand members. It's fantastic. We love all of you, and everybody that's in there is really helpful, by the way. So if you have questions, please ask them in there, and we'd be happy to help you during the week. And then finally, if you want us on the go, download us on Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We are everywhere you want to be. So with that, let's get into the Friday Q&A. How you doing, Greg?
I am excellent. How are you, my friend?
Oh, man, I can't freaking complain. It's a Friday. More importantly, it's a Friday after freaking PubCon.
I know, right? It was so cool being back and seeing everyone and just getting to mingle with industry people again was awesome. Just flat out awesome.
It really was. I remember the old days of PubCon. The old days of PubCon were just always amazing. It felt like you were just getting together with so many good friends.
Yep.
And, it's like year after year. And that's how you kept in touch with everybody, right? I mean, of course, the deals that you can make at PubCon are just amazing. But the human connection, that's what's really amazing.
Yeah, for sure. It was so great just being able to see people face to face again.
Exactly. And Trisha is talking about Local U coming up, of course. We've got to come up, April 16th, I think?
I think it's 20-something.
I don't know. Hey, what's up, John? And Local U, they just, thank you, Trisha, 26th. See, we don't need Bing. We don't need ChatGPT. We've got Zoom GPT. Yeah. So anyway,
Trisha GPT.
Yes, exactly. So, but yeah, they just picked actually now it's not going to be in Toronto. It's going to be at some thing that's like 2 hours away.
Which now I really want to go. I just don't think I can make the timing work out. But yeah, that location looks awesome.
It does. I want to do some zip lining. They've got something where you lean over the side, which I don't know what that's all about. But
go to a conference. I might just go hang out at the place,
Exactly. So, hey, Summer, how you doing? Hi, Rachel. Hi from Boston. Awesome. Yeah, Trisha, I've never been to Canada either, so it's like I gotta go get my passport and do all that stuff, and yeah. But I'm looking forward to going to Canada.
It takes forever lately.
Does it? Oh, yeah. Right on.
A very long time to get a passport lately.
I will say this. In Canada, one of the things I'm looking forward to is ever since Colin told me about this at the Product Expert Summit, I've never heard of poutine.
Oh, my God. Poutine is the best ever.
I've never had it.
You'll love it. It's so delish.
God, it sounds like 30,000 calories from here. But
it is, but it's all amazing.
It's like what? Gravy and cheese curds, right?
Gravy and cheese curds on fries.
Oh my God. It's a heart attack in a box.
But it's not like gravy like you're thinking of. It's like a weird Canadian weird, not bad, but just weird for gravy for what we consider gravy in the States.
Yeah.
But it's awesome.
Oh God. Yeah, heck yeah. We're gonna have to get a barrel of that.
Yep. But now it's time for the news.
Do.
Oh wait, and the first news is me. Well, we've been talking about PubCon, but PubCon was great, and funny enough, there was lots of chat about ChatGPT. And a keynote from Bing about Bing's chat-powered search results. I think the most interesting thing, or the most interesting quotable, was that thing that Brett said, that AI is not going to replace SEOs, but someone using AI is going to replace SEOs. So you're not going to lose your job to AI, but you're going to lose your job to another digital marketer that's using AI efficiently. And I thought that was a really great way to kind of phrase everything.
Yeah, I've got to agree. I totally have to agree. I heard that the Bing chat, what they did as far as like the keynote they did wasn't really that revealing. It's like they just gave everybody access.
I mean, come on. When is a keynote from Google or Bing ever revealing? They have to go through
Right.
so much legal bullshit to be able to get to the point that they can present something publicly. And like, I get it. It's cool as a conference organizer to say, "Hey, we've got somebody from Google," or "Hey, we've got somebody from Bing," and all the marketing noobs are like, "Oh my gosh, it's somebody from Google or it's somebody from Bing."
Yep.
But there's never anything that you can use out of anything that those people can say.
Yeah, and anything useful that they tell you is probably misinformation,
Yeah.
more than likely. But, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, yeah, everybody was talking about ChatGPT. Of course, everybody integrated it into their slides and their presentations. So, I mean, it was kind of interesting to see what everybody's take on it was. I didn't really see too much new there, though, as far as like, other than what's been already talked about.
Well, you're talking about from an AI tool perspective?
Yeah,
Nah,
exactly. I
I
mean,
didn't.
the only thing that was cool, I think, and that people really haven't talked about yet is what Brett showed in his keynote, where he showed like the AI video stuff that's coming along. That
Yeah, I think
stuff
that was
is
cool. The other thing
very good.
that I thought was interesting that I don't know if she talked about it in her presentation because I didn't catch it, but I was talking to Martha Van Berkel and she was saying that schema is even more important now because all of those AI tools will use the schema to understand better what your site or what your content or what your entity is all about and how those things are connected. So I thought that was like an interesting use case for schema to say, hey, look, as we move further into the AI powered world, all of the AI and machine learning tools are going to utilize whatever implemented schema you have to have a better understanding about your site.
I talked to Martha too, but my only problem with that is that based on an assumption or is it based on testing?
Where is it based on? She just wants to sell more schema app? I don't know, but I thought it was an
Right.
interesting take.
I mean, it's an interesting theory, but it's like even I have been trying to like take a look around and reverse engineer the results and such, right? And just try to think like, okay, how can I AI optimize an entity or a question or a client?
Yep.
That's the next thing, right? For all of us is like figuring that out. It's
Yep.
like whoever figures that out has the golden ticket. I'm
Well, I
just
mean, it's
saying.
kind of like when featured snippets came out and everyone was trying to figure out, okay, what do you have to do to grab that featured snippet? And 6 months to a year after featured snippets were released, you started having people that had run enough tests and done it reliably to be able to come in and talk and say, hey, look, here's how to get a featured snippet. So I would assume that stuff's probably coming end of this year for people saying, here's how to optimize for the AI tools, or at
Of
least
course.
better optimize for the AI tools. So it should be coming.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I like to see
Um,
tests. I like to see tests. I think
yeah.
everybody should test.
No, I mean, I've been playing with Chat GPT a lot, really trying to stump it with some of the stuff like we were playing with a couple weeks back of like, hey, spit me out some schema for this particular business with these particular hours, and boom, it's right every time. That stuff's super easy. Give me some crazy Excel formulas because I am one of the biggest Excel nerds in the world. Like, I basically just code inside of Excel. And so I was asking it crazy, crazy complicated formulas, and it was right every time. So, like, I think the uses for efficiencies in your workflow are awesome. I just kind of like we said before, and everybody was saying at the conference, it's just not there yet for content generation.
Yeah. All right. So this is to the audience, by the way. The question is, are you currently using ChatGPT or any AI tools in your daily lives, in your business? Just go ahead and shout out in the chat, please, if you are. And tell us a very, very tiny little bit about what you're using it for. So we'll get to that.
And also, Max, buddy, if you're watching this on the replay, this 2 times in a row you haven't been here. We miss you, man.
Come back, Max. Come on. All right.
And we have another news item.
So, yes. Okay. So people have been complaining basically about this. And that is that, they're saying that basically, here we go, that the profile strength indicator, the old bug from last year, which has now found its way into the in-search experience, NMX, is gone. It's fixed. If you have any examples that are still showing the 89%, and when you click on it, then it's saying you have to buy ads to get to 100%, basically, go ahead and feel free to get those over to me, because Google is looking for those edge case examples. But otherwise, for the most part, it is fixed. So anyway, so there's that. All right. And so with that, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to rock into some questions that we had from last week first. Then we're going to move into the questions that we have this week.
And the first question is for you. Also, by the way, Ken, thanks for that comment in chat. It was great to see you, and glad you enjoyed my presentation.
Yes, actually, the question's for
Or
you.
Oh, wait. The question's for me. I'll let you go. Sorry.
All right. So the first question is from Doug. Is Doug with us today? No. Hey, stop asking questions and then not showing up. I'm just saying. All right. Well, Doug, if you're listening, fantastic, man. So your questions is, I have reviews not show up recently.
And that's the whole question?
That's the whole question.
That's the whole question. Well, Doug, if you're listening to the replay on one of the podcast services, or on the site or Facebook or wherever, it's kind of happening a lot. The spam detection system is a little bit more aggressive than it should be. So the thing to do, if you are missing reviews, you can go to the Google Business Profile Community Forum, create a post. Make sure you don't add on to another post to the similar issue, because we only really can assist one issue per post, but start a new post. Let us know what's going on with your missing review and or reviews. You cannot just say, hey, I'm missing some reviews and hope to get them back. Google's team is not going to do anything for you unless you know the name of the person that left the review and when they left the review, or even better, if you've got screen captures of the reviews from the clients or customers who have left those reviews. So sometimes you may want to create a Google Doc if you've got a lot of screen captures, and drop them all in there, and then just share a link to the Google Doc in the forum post. And then one of us product experts will escalate that to the Google Business Profile reviews team. And as long as those reviews are found to not be against policy, they will be reinstated.
Yep. Can't stress enough getting those screenshots.
Yeah. And it's really important to understand that Google won't do anything unless you've got info about what those reviews are. You can't just say, hey, I'm missing some reviews. They'll say, yeah, sorry. Trisha, to answer your question, how long is it taking? Kind of depends. I've had some that come back pretty quickly. I've had some that it's taking several weeks. So I don't know that there is a set timeline for what's going on there.
Oh, wait, are you saying, it depends?
Oh, wait. It depends. Yeah. Sorry.
It's even
a little off my game.
She called you out on it too. Just saying.
All right. Here's a question for you from Paul, who I'm sure is here. Oh, Paul is here because he already said hi today, right?
All right. Yeah, I think Paul said hi. Yeah.
Kudos to Paul for asking a question in the past and actually showing up today to get the answer.
Yes.
And Paul's question is, are product features gone or limited to business types / categories?
So adding product is not gone actually at all. What's the category, Paul, that's where it's missing, quote unquote, from? Tobacco. There you go. That's the reason. So tobacco is a regulated industry. It is a duress category as well, but more importantly, it is regulated. So like tobacco, alcohol, for instance, tobacco and alcohol. And then, well, anyway, they can't do posts. So since tobacco can't do posts, they can't do products. Yep, exactly. Yeah, I know it's tough to promote. But unfortunately you can't do posts, and you can. So since products are based on posts, that's why you're not going to be able to go ahead and see them. So really, I mean, the only thing that you can do is You can't do much, actually. I'm sorry. Yeah, there is not much that you can do, really. Yep, firearms too. That's right. You got that right. Really? Paintball and airsoft? I did not know that.
That's crazy that it's for paintball and airsoft too. I guess because they're still gun related, right?
Yeah. No, that makes no sense. Paintball and airsoft should be fine. Replicas, yes. Gas stations? Nah. Interesting. But yeah, paintball and airsoft. I would no axe throwing should be fine.
I mean,
Um,
airsoft I can see because those kind of look like real guns, but paintball, like that's clearly energy drink.
I would think paintball's fine. Interesting. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, Scott, I'm sorry. Yeah, dude, they're never going to allow firearms to do posts. It's not going to change. And as far as why is this, it's probably got some type of legal consequence, I guess you could say, to them allowing it. I remember way back in the day. This is actually before I became a PE. It's one of the reasons why I did become a PE actually was I had a firearms dealer from Sacramento, California. They dealt in stuff like from like the 50 cals and stuff like that, heavy firearms. And yes, you do, Trisha. And they got suspended actually from Google Maps. They were going to literally wipe out every firearm dealer from the world from having a Google business profile. And they said, and I mean, when I asked support, they said it was because the guns kill people. Yeah, but hey, we were able to argue and get them back, and allow gun stores to manage their profiles online. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a regulated industry, so that's why they won't allow it. All right. Okay, Greg. We have the most interesting question, I think, in the entire world at this point.
And
waiting
she's not
just
here.
for you.
Okay, we gotta all go tweet real quick. Hold on, I gotta see what Claire's Twitter is because I don't remember it off the top of my head. I think it's just Claire Carlisle. Yeah, it's Claire Carlisle.
So.
ClaireCarlile. Everybody go tweet her and be like, they're totally talking about you on Greg and Ben's podcast now.
Drop it in chat, man. Drop it in chat.
Oh, yeah. Everybody go tweet Claire Carlisle. They're talking about you. Or Claire Carlisle, you didn't show up to get your question answered.
So Claire, I think Claire has probably the most important question in the world, if not the entire universe. And the question is nothing. What's the answer?
The answer is nothing.
See, I don't know, man. I would argue. I would argue that you can't answer nothing. The answer is nothing.
Yeah, it depends.
It does depend. But nothing. You can't answer nothing about nothing, right? There has to be something about nothing.
Oh, I mean, honestly, I think the answer is probably 42.
Yeah, I think the answer would be 42. I agree. So, Claire, if you're listening to this on the replay, we just want to let you know that the answer to your question is 42. And if you don't know the reference to that, I'm sorry.
Then you're not in our cool book anymore.
Exactly. All right.
All right.
Just a little levity there for today.
The next question. And hey, everybody, make sure you go tweet. It'll be really funny. And she'll be like, what the heck did you guys do? Also, don't forget to put your questions in the Q&A or sites or URLs that you would like us to do a live audit of. We can do that too. But
we could do live audits, actually. That would be kind of fun. Yes. That'd be kind of fun. Oh, wait, before we get into the next question, let's do a little bit of housekeeping because we need to. And that is, we only have 4 questions in the Q&A. So what does that mean? We need you all to go into the Q&A and ask us your burning question of the day. Or drop in your GBP and we'll audit it for you. Okay. Exactly. BQOTT.
Yes. The next question, let's see if is Rachel here today.
All right.
Rachel, scroll. Rachel's here. And
Hey,
Rachel has
Rachel.
a question. Thanks for coming back to hear the answer to your question, Rachel.
Really?
Rachel's question is about GBP verification issues. And she says, hey guys, I'm a marketing manager for a large physician group and have more than 40 offices that have their own individual business listings under her GBP. For a while, she was having those annoying little postcards sent to offices she still needed to quote unquote verify. When someone at the office received a postcard, they would email the code to Rachel. Now it seems that Google is no longer listing send postcard as an option to verify. I can't use phone number or text as an option because it's a landline and doctors' offices aren't always answered by a human. So how do I get the remaining offices verified? Please help. Thank you.
All right. So the question I have for you, Rachel, is just to clarify your question, are you saying that you're no longer getting the postcard option, you're only getting a phone option? Kind of need to know the answer to that question first. Correct. Okay. So is it like 100% of the time you're getting phone? Like you've got like 30 to go and you've got like 30 that need to do phone. All right. Well, I mean, if that's the case, then congrats. You've also gotten the golden ticket. That's actually like the best thing in the entire world, by the way. Because you don't have to suffer through video verification or postcard verification. But so my question is have you tried to switch back and click to other options? Because sometimes, usually actually, when you have phone verification, you also get email verification at the same time. So have you tried to, okay, yes, but nothing comes up. Okay. So in this case, you only have two options. Okay. Technically three. The third one doesn't work all the time. The third one is wait 3 weeks and see what happens. Okay. If it's been over 3 weeks and nothing's changed, then forget it. That doesn't apply to you. The second thing you can do is you can try and disable your phone tree just during the verification process. That is usually the easiest thing to do. Yes, it's difficult to coordinate, but it is the easiest. If you can't do that, I'm sorry, then what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to reach out to support. You're going to say you would rather have either postcard and or video verification because you cannot receive phone calls because you have a phone tree. Google may not understand what you mean by phone tree when you say that, but that's basically what you're asking for is an alternate method to verify, which will probably end up being video, which is going to become a PIDA. I'm just saying for doctors. So hopefully that answers your question, Rachel. What do you guys say about that, brother?
I would say just go straight to support and say, hey, we can't do phone verification because it's an automated phone system. But that's the easiest thing to do.
Yeah. And so, Rachel, as far as why did they get rid of postcards? The real question is, why did they get rid of postcards for you? Because if you're hitting 100% of the time and you're getting phone, that actually means that your account's trusted more than most accounts. So you're doing something right, I guess is my point there. As far as why they get rid of postcards in general, they're actually getting rid of postcards for most people. For most companies, and except for a couple different types of categories, about 17 categories. So for the most part, most people are being moved to video verification. Sometimes you have to video verify and then postcard or phone verify. So there's two verification methods. Yeah, exactly, Paul. Right. So you got the video verification. And yeah, it takes a while to get an owner to do a video verification, but that's why it's so good, is because it's really difficult for a spammer to do video verification. Do you think a spammer is actually going to have thousands of dollars of tools? The answer is no, they're not going to. And if they do, they're silly because they just wasted a crap load of money. So anyway, all right, cool. So thank you very much for that question there, Rachel. All right, Greg, the next one is for you. This is from Saeed. Saeed saying, okay, and is Saeed here actually?
Not here.
Not here. Thanks, Saeed. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. So he's saying support for GPP in my region. Accessing chat support for GPP has proven to be challenging. Is there a method that I can use to initiate chat?
In most regions, getting to chat is difficult, and most of the time you can't. You can sometimes, but it's one of those it depends situations. So realistically, if you're having issues, go to the forum, go post on the community forum, get a product expert to help. Don't try to talk to support, because even if you could talk to support through chat, chances are they're probably not going to be able to help you.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say if you can't get to them, just actually follow the flow and contact support directly. Because if you do go into the forums first, we're going to tell you to go help, go fill out a support for thing first. So, but yeah, it kind of depends on your issue, and not to mention, like Greg is saying, is like chat support's okay, not awesome, but they're okay. So, I wish they came back with phone support, but
yeah. No dream.
Yep, exactly. I used to remember the days where you could call into support and be like, you had the lottery basically. It's like, okay, does this guy speak English? Does he understand my problem? No, hang up, call again. All right.
I'm sending to host and panelists. I need to send to everyone. Hey, Ken, you're listening. I could just talk to you. Drop that question down in the Q&A section, because we lose questions when they get scrolling through the chat system. So drop it down in the Q&A so we can be sure to get to it. And if we don't get to it today, we'll get to it next week.
Yep.
But
exactly.
The next question is for Ben.
Yes.
From Jim Froling.
Jim is here.
Jim is here. Yay, Jim. Jim's got a question about a suspended profile, and he says, all right, my GBP was suspended a few weeks ago. I appealed and got an auto reply a few days later that my business doesn't qualify. I've had this listing since 2011. The listing is compliant with Google's guidelines and always has been, although Google did not provide any details on why it was suspended. I suspect it may be an address thing. I appealed that, I guess the address thing, including a photo of the outside of the office with the address visible, my DBA showing the office address, my business card, and a Google sheet showing 160 citations, all showing the same address. Google then suggested that I take the issue to the GBP community, but I've never heard from anyone. What else can I do?
Well, I'm going to tell you the first thing you need to do is take a chill pill. And then the next thing that you need to do is stop overthinking things. So I'm going to take this grilled cheese and I'm going to pull it apart really quickly. Okay. All right. So okay. I know it's easy for me to say, but I've done thousands of reinstatements. Trust me, chilling is the first thing you need to do. Okay. So GBP was suspended a few weeks ago. Okay. Appealed, got an auto reply a few days later. Right. So with bacon, by the way, I'm just saying, with bacon. Okay. So appealed, got an auto reply a few days later. Business does not qualify. Okay, great. That's actually standard. That's the way it's supposed to work. Had this listing since 2011. And by the way, Jim, don't take any of this personal. I'm just going over all the details so everybody can kind of learn from this. All right. So had this listing since 2011. Just so you know, you may know this, is that Google doesn't care how long you've had your listing. You are guilty until proven innocent. It is based on an incident issue, not time issue. So I know a guy who came to me. He's like, I've had my listing for since 20 years. It's been up. Well, okay. Well, it hasn't been around for 20 years, but okay. And basically I found out that the guy had a PO box and he had his address showing. Google just caught up to him. That's all. It's very easy as far as that goes. Listing is compliant with Google's guidelines and always has been. I hear this statement every single time that I work with somebody who's suspended. And like I said, I've done over 3,000 of these, maybe 4,000 by now. Everybody says the same thing. I've had a business listing for X amount of years. I pay Google X amount of money. I have X amount of 5-star reviews, and I'm perfect. I'm in the guidelines. I asked them a couple questions and they're not. Understanding the guidelines is very difficult. The guidelines are gray, number one. Okay, so they're not black and white. But number two is that, everybody thinks they're in the guidelines, but there's always one thing that's wrong or 10 things that's wrong. All right. So then you say appeal to using a photo of the outside of the office. My question to that is do you have signage outside of the office? If not, Google doesn't need to see the picture.
Let
And
us
actually,
know in chat.
that is a question for you, by the way, Jim. Do you have signage outside of the office? My guess is going to be no, but I could be wrong. All right. While Jim is going ahead and answering this, hopefully.
Jim's here. Maybe Jim's here but not listening.
Crawling.
Yes, he put it up. Put what up?
Yeah, what did you put up? Permanent sign, piece of paper, vinyl signage, harp. Okay. While Jim is answering, I'm very curious actually to what you put up, Jim. By the way,
do we know what kind of business it is either?
No, we kind of need to get that. It's a trade shop banner. Okay, trade shop banner is not going to do it. Just so you know. So, because what you're talking about is probably a vinyl banner. Vinyl banners are not permanent signage in Google's eyes, just so you know. And actually, this is a good question. What kind of business is it?
If it's for his
agency
address, it's 949 Local is a marketing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a marketing consulting firm. So yeah, it was worth a shot, right? So basically, okay, so let me just go through this really quick and let's see. Okay. So just for the rest, DBA showing office address, that's a good thing. Business card, Google doesn't care. Google Sheet showing citation, Google doesn't care. Google suggested you take it to the community. That's because they're done with you. So basically, what else can you do? What you can do is if it's actually an office and it's actually staffed and you actually work there, then you can basically go ahead and you need to show signage. More importantly, inside. You have a door to an office. I hope you have an office. And if you have an office that is your office dedicated to you, and is not a shared desk, which most people do, then you have to show your signage to your office. That's really what they're looking for, by the way, if you have your address showing. So hopefully that helps. I would think it does. Anything. Anyway, that was a really long answer, wasn't it, dude?
Was a long answer.
It was a long answer. Yeah. Okay. All right. So anyway, if it's a real office and you have real signage and you can really prove it, just reply back to the denial with a new proof. Okay. All right, Greg. So we have a question for you. This one is from Greg. Also, let's see.
He's not here.
There's a Greg here. Hi, Greg Chaddock, but there's not a Greg Sherman. So we'll go ahead and answer the question anyway. This one is a question about a GBP location setting. I still get tickled pink every time I see somebody say the GBP versus GMB. I'm just saying. My GBP was set as a location-based business. Then I switched to a service area-based business. Well, switching back to a location-based business trigger a business verification. I asked because when I switched to Toggle to go back to my location and address was gone. I find that kind of odd.
This is one of those I'd rather hold and wait until Greg's here to answer because we need to know what kind of business it is. Because my first question in situations like this is always, why were you set as a location business and then you switched to a service business and now you want to switch back to a location business? Exactly what Trisha just said in chat. Why the constant changing?
Exactly.
And also, what kind of timeline is that on? Is it like you were screwing around and you just wanted to see what would happen? And we're talking about it's been a week and now you're trying to switch back, or you switched for a year and now it's a year later. Like, there are too many variables here to really answer what's going on and also be able to help anyone else to know what's going on with this one, right?
Yeah, I actually had somebody ask this during my PubCon presentation. So what Greg is saying is, and Trisha are saying, is 100% accurate. It's like, well, why the hell are you doing this in the first place, right? What are you trying to gain? More than likely, you're trying to see, like, do I get better traffic if I hide my address, or if I remove my address, or show my address? So, but switching it back and forth is a horrible thing to do. By the way, it's also a signal of abuse. So if you go back again for a third time and you have not been suspended already, guaranteed you are probably going to get suspended, and you're probably not going to get reinstated, because Google sees this as a signal of abuse. It throws up red flags. So don't do this. And the last part about that is you ask because when you switch to toggle to go back, my address was gone. Dude, your address is not gone. You can't see it, but Google has it. They know what the address is. And by the way, if you enter it back in and you typo it, you in trouble. I'd leave it alone. I'd stay in SAB. If that's your business model, stick with what you got.
Yep. And since it is now more than half past the hour, don't touch what sound?
Don't touch this.
I told a client not to do this because it would only trigger Google and get on their bad list. Don't touch which sound? I don't have a. You mean this?
He's saying hey, don't touch this sound. You know, like MC Hammer. Don't touch this.
Yeah, that's a good one. I should get that for sure. But what I was going to say is we should switch over to the live questions from people that are here, since we're halfway through the hour, which means the first one is going to go to you, and it's from our buddy John Panino, who says, seeing a functionality issue in the new search dashboard. When you click and add an attribute, they have yes or no as an option. Once you click on either yes or no, you are locked into it and can't unselect either yes or no like you used to be able to do. So for example, if you add accessible bathroom and click yes, you can't unselect yes. It automatically marks it as no. Would rather hide some of those instead of having them marked as yes or no if I clicked one by mistake.
So A, sounds like you're in a test, or I am really behind in the features. Gosh, I want to go check really quick, actually. I gotta see this because that doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound right.
No, so I'm gonna go take a look really quick. All right. Yeah, you can go ahead and play the song now. There you go. Yeah, just keep going. So this is really horrible. It's like I haven't added attributes in a long freaking time, so I'm like, gotta go hunt them down. Okay, there, I got them. All right, so crowd. Let's say planning, maybe appointment required. No, all right, I don't care anything. All right, so okay, all right, offers online appointments. Yes, no. I can select no.
No, I think he's saying you have, once you've put it in and selected something, you can't unselect it and have it not appear as an attribute.
Yeah, no, I'm able to toggle back and forth between yes and no with no problems.
But if you have it on no, can you unselect no, or can you only select yes?
Yeah, so like mine says yes right now. So if I click yes, can you
unselect yes so that it doesn't select either one?
No.
That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think no, he said right. Yeah, what he's asking about is apparently in the past you could unselect yes.
Correct.
And that would make it not show at all. Now, once you've put it in there, it's always going to be there, and you can't remove it.
Which makes sense, though. Okay, and here's why: is because things like, for instance, the owned attribute, right? You know, veteran owned, for instance, black owned, etc. Those are actually ranking factors in a sense. Because you can rank for black owned business near me or veteran owned business near me. So maybe what they've done is this would actually require a test, is maybe they're locking these things in. Other attributes are now they're also ranking factors. It's a possibility. Let's see.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I don't
interesting.
know.
Trisha says if she says no in the dashboard, it's not displayed at all on the live profile. So, John, is that the case for you? That maybe you're only looking in the editor? If you looked not logged in from a different browser, does it still show your nose? John's going to test that. Trisha comes to the rescue. We can go ahead and do the next question then.
All right.
John
So
can
let's
come back in the chat and let us know if John, are you going to test it right now or are you going to do it later? Like if you're doing it, well, you don't have to, but if you're going to do it now, just come back in the chat and let us know what you found. Otherwise, let us know next time.
This is a question from Fern. It's kind of a follow-up, I guess.
All
Here
right.
you go, buddy. You ready?
I'm ready.
Hi. Straightforward question. I'm targeting locally on my website, so including the name Toronto at the end, focus keyword on each service page and site pages for industries. However, I could also use Canada since I'm welcoming work from professionals all over Canada. If I were to do that, what happens to my Google business? I need to know how to handle that. Someone told me I would have to add a local page for Toronto on my website. That would be too complicated for me right now. Just want to get this off the ground. I've heard it's better to get established locally before you expand globally, but perhaps that does not apply to Canada.
So this is kind of the same thing we said when you asked us a question about the H1s and H2s on the last broadcast. Just go get the site up. Stop worrying about it. You're thinking way too hard about it and way overthinking and killing yourself with like too many decisions that are minuscule and won't matter to you. So just put Toronto in there and don't worry about Canada. Can you service the whole country? Sure. But is it likely that someone's going to come to you because they found you on Google searching for lawyer marketing in Canada? No. They're going to search in a particular city or they're just going to search without a qualifier. So I wouldn't worry about putting Canada anywhere on there because you already put Toronto and everybody knows Toronto's in Canada. So I would just get it up and it doesn't affect anything with your Google business profile. So just go get the site up, get going.
Get done. Get done. Get it done. As a matter of fact, next week, we want you here. We want your website. Put it live. We'll put it in the chat.
Yep.
All right.
Next question for you, my friend, from Jeffrey. Yes, in 2 weeks, we will be back.
Perfect, Fern. Yes. 2 weeks.
Next question, Jeffrey Custrin. Hey, guys, I have a client that primarily does eye care. They also have a separate vertical in plastic surgery. Their eye center is in one suite, and their plastic surgery clinic is in a different suite. They are wondering if it would be possible to create a separate GBP for the plastic surgery clinic. Ultimately, their business name is the same, phone numbers are different, but the suite is different. What's your take?
This is an it depends.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, it depends.
There you go. So the thing that it depends on is basically business entities. So Jeffrey, in chat, please answer. Right, they do have separate entrances, but the question really comes down to entity-wise. So are these two businesses, they're named differently, but are they different legal entities? Different, like say LLCs or I think it's LLCs, yeah, for this. That's really what's important, is if they're different entities or not. And so if you want to answer in the chat, that would be helpful. Okay. Stephen, so the reason why we're asking this question, what happens in healthcare a lot is that, you'll see this exact same scenario. It's really one business, but they just set up multiple GPPs and then they'll set up multiple practitioner GPPs. It gets really messy. But what ends up happening is somebody somewhere gets suspended. And so the fact of the matter is once you do get suspended, Google's going to say, okay, well, cool. So you got an eye care thing over here. You got this plastic surgery thing over here, but where's your signage? Where's your business license? And you go, oh, It's the same business. Okay, well, one wins. Sorry, goodbye. And your listing is forever suspended.
But he said in chat, he's not sure, but let's say that they are separate entities.
If they're separate entities, it's totally fine. Separate staff, separate phone number, separate business, separate license, separate suite. No big deal. That's totally acceptable. Yes, you can have multiple GPPs.
I would question why they would have the same name. It wouldn't make sense to have the same name for a plastic surgeon and an optometrist.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense.
So that sounds fishy. That sounds like it's the same business to me. And if that's the case, you have to just have a subcategory.
Yes, Trisha, getting multiple DBAs for the same entity doesn't count.
Correct. Sometimes.
Well, I mean, depends on who's looking at your stuff.
Exactly. All right. Cool. All right. So you're welcome. All right. So now a question for you from Myrna Greenfield. So, hi, Myrna. I'm working with a medical transport company that serves 30 different towns in a part of our state. We'll having dedicated pages for each of these towns, help them to show up in the local search. How many words should each page have in order to be helpful? Ooh.
First, Myrna, I would ask, do you find clients because they find you on Google? Because sometimes in certain verticals, you're not really going to get business because you rank in Google at all. Like medical transport, I don't know. I've never worked with the medical transport client. But if people that do medical transport get found on Google, then yeah, for sure, adding those pages will help. But if potential customers don't search on Google for that solution, you'd be wasting a ton of effort to go put that up. So find that out first. Second, if you do show up in Google, or people would find you on Google, then yeah, I would 100% make separate pages for each of those towns, but you need to write them all uniquely so that it's not just a bunch of duplicate doorway pages. And how many words per page? There's no answer. There's no answer on the internet. There's no answer in existence that will tell you how many words per page you need to rank. If you're in your money or your life type of business, you're going to need more. If you're not, you're going to need less, but it's also about how big the market is and how much competition is there, because you basically have to write the best answer to the question that that potential customer is asking in that local area. If you can write that best answer in 400 or 500 words, then cool. 400 or 500 words is all you need. If it takes 1,000, takes 1,000. If it takes 2,000, takes 2,000. Chances are it's going to be more than a couple hundred, probably less than 1,500 for that, but there's no way to answer that.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah, there's really no other way to explain it than that. So don't worry about word count. You could have 200 words, would be just fine. That's all you got. That's all you got. You know,
yeah,
but
if you write the best answer in 200 words and you feel like you have to hit 1,000 word count because you heard that on some webinar, then you're adding 800 words of fluff to what would have been the best answer at 200 or 250. And now that content's not relevant anymore. So it's more about write a badass answer to whatever the question is that somebody might be asking. And remember, if you're writing the best answer to that question, you're probably answering some of the subsequent questions as well. So it's going to take a decent amount of content.
Yeah, I will say this though. Okay, this is kind of cool, but you could do this, right?
Okay, wait, Fern, don't take that as Ben says it's okay to just write 200 words of content.
Yeah, it's not what I'm saying at all.
That's not what he's saying.
No. I'm just saying if that's all you got and that's enough, then great. You know, but you know, obviously you should write to answer the question. So what you could do also is you could take your couple of paragraphs that you write and you're kind of out of ideas maybe, right? So go to ChatGPT and say, in a human tone, using my voice and my writing style, and say, write 3 additional paragraphs to this content. And then you pop in the content, hit enter in ChatGPT, and it will go ahead and it'll write, additional paragraphs basically that are relevant. And then you want to edit that. You want to read it very thoroughly, and you want to edit all of that information. So you don't want to just copy and paste. Don't use ChatGPT that way. But I mean, if you just want to create a little bit of content, again, give it the content, tell it that is your voice and that you want to add additional content, and it will. It's actually freaking amazing. Okay, cool.
Boom. Next question for you comes from our buddy Steven. And he wants to know how you add departments to GBP.
Oh, man, it's been an age since I've done it. But if I remember correctly, you create another Google business profile and then you reach out to support and you ask them to merge them together into a department. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right.
Yeah. But you have to first, Stephen, what vertical are we talking about? Because not every vertical is allowed to have departments.
And that's correct.
So that's another one where, it depends.
So the only things that really are supposed to have departments are really is what, automotive?
Automotive can have it, like big box stores can have it, department stores can have it, but most verticals can't.
I think hospitals can.
Is it hard to get verified at the same address? That's exactly why I was asking, Tricia. If you are allowed to keratoconus, what the heck is that?
I don't know.
Oh, wait, that just disappeared.
Okay.
It's a terracotta something, doctor something. But no, yes, Tricia, it's not hard to get verified at the same address if you're allowed to do it. So like car dealers, they can do it all day long because they're allowed to do it. If you're not allowed to do it, it's going to be really hard to get that done. Yeah, see, John, they would never do it for hair salons because hair salons, they're like, the spa, yeah, it offers different services, but a spa offers different services. A spa putting in a different Google business profile for nails versus hair is like a restaurant putting in a different profile for bar versus food. It doesn't make sense.
Right,
it's not a separate business entity like it really would be. So it would not apply to the case that we talked about earlier. Doctors are not allowed to have department listings.
And that's the thing, is separate business qualifying entity.
Steven, where are you at, buddy? Which vertical were you talking about? He asked if it would apply to the eye doctor and eye surgeon, but he didn't answer what the vertical was he was referring to.
Yeah, it wouldn't work for the eye doctor. No, not at all. That's two separate entities, but they're not allowed to department nest.
I am post? I don't know what that means.
I don't know. Okay. So, next one's for you, best buddy. All right. Is there any workaround to set up a GBP for a local nonprofit that rents space from another local business? The nonprofit does not have any signage or other indicators at the rented location.
Then no. You can't break the rules. The rules are in place to make sure that there are no spammers out there. So there actually is a workaround. The workaround is to get compliant. Have separate signage. You obviously, if you're renting space, you're going to have staff there. So you've got separate staff. I'm sure that nonprofit has a separate phone number. They probably have their own website. So the only issue is they're in the same address as somebody else, but they don't have permanent signage. You're not going to get around that without putting up permanent signage.
If they have their own office, they could do a service area based.
Yeah.
I do that for a major donation nonprofit. Actually, what I do for them is I have them get WeWorks with signage and then hide their address. It works.
But you still got to have the signage.
Oh, yeah. You still have to have having the actual executive office. That's key.
Yep.
That's the component. All right. So this one, okay, is it my turn or your turn? I forget.
My turn.
All right. Your turn?
Like you asked me.
All right. We always have fun with this during Q&A.
Right.
All right. This one's from Al Anthony. How's it going, Al?
Oh, no, wait. Sorry, I didn't scroll right. Because I asked you the department. You asked me the question of the workaround. So now I'm asking you Al's question.
All right.
So
somebody
Al
needs to keep score. I'm just saying.
Is doing a rebrand for a client. As part of changing things up, he decided the name of the company, or he updated the name of the company on the GBP on the 28th. No profile suspension, so that's good. But the performance insights show no traffic to the profile since. Analytics shows traffic. Will this fix itself?
Maybe. Changing a name is not going to kill your performance. Unless you changed it from ER near me to ER or MP. In other words, how drastic was the name change? I guess that's really the question. Did you change it from I've got 30,000 keywords in my business title to I have no keywords in my business title? Then sure, yeah, your performance insights, I guess, could get affected, So that's possible. If you want to expand on that, Al, in chat, then not very, just wondering if it's a glitch. Yeah, it kind of sounds like it is a glitch. I would just wait it out for another week if, just wait it out for another week.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't come back, hit up support, and just say, they're going to be useless, by the way, just so you know. So, yeah, but you need to start there, hit up support. All right. So this question then is for you. Valeria Demas. You're welcome. Okay. Right on, Scott. Cool. Awesome, dude.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Scott. Come back next time. It's always fun.
Definitely. Adam will get you hooked up, man. Adam will get you hooked up and we'll get you helped out. So thanks for joining. All right. So let's see. Valeria has a question, buddy. All right. So hello, exclamation point. Sorry. Keeping with the verification options offered by Google, we've been having troubles to verify the locations via postcard. The system says the postcard's on its way, but it never arrives. Go figure. By any chance, do you happen to know if Google is having issues with mailing postcards?
Yeah, I mean, postcards are always super shoddy, and sometimes they arrive, sometimes they don't. Depending on what part of the world you're in, it could be even worse because those have to then go out through less reliable mail delivery systems. So the thing to remember is the code on the card only lasts for 30 days, and then it no longer works. So if it's been 30 days and you didn't get the code, don't keep waiting because even if you got it, it's not going to work. But really, it should arrive in 12 to 14 business days. That doesn't count weekends. So usually it's like 3 weeks of time. When you get that card, put it in. If it hasn't come in a month, request another one. Once you've requested a couple and not gotten them, you can just go to support and say, hey, look, all I'm getting as an option is postcard, but I've tried it 2 or 3 times and the postcard's not coming. And that will usually get you a manual verification, or you can come to the forum and say, hey, look, I need help, and go that way. But I would just go right to support and say, look, we've requested the postcards multiple times. They're not showing up. Can we get manually verified?
A couple things to add to that. And that is that you can also go to melissa.com. So it's Melissa Data. Type in your address, see if it recognizes you as an actual address. Next thing you can do is call the post office or have your client call the post office and verify that they have it correctly. Third thing you can do, enter in the address into Google. Saw this happen the other day. Sometimes Google will actually see the address as something completely different, or it'll format it differently. It's very important to note, because if it's Northwest Freeway 45 East in, you know what I mean, or whatever, like Houston actually is like this, if I remember correctly. DFW, I know definitely is. Their freeways are all freaking messed up name-wise. So, but if you do that, then you'll figure out, okay, well, now I need to call the post office and get the address correct, or I need to use the correct address. So there's always that too. All right. So, yeah. Okay. Anyway. So, yeah, that is in addition to that. Also, you don't have to wait 30 days. You can actually wait like a week or 2, because they say it's going to come in 5 days. So you can actually do it after 5 days. But I do recommend you request a postcard at least twice and then go beg for video verification.
Yep. And we are at time, but if you want to squeeze in a lightning round for one last question, we can do that.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and post this because somebody's asking how to get to support. So let me just give this really quick. 11:59. Yeah, we're going to run over a minute because I need to capture some of this data here before we go.
Well, then capture some of this data while I'm reading the question from John.
Deal.
So John says to follow up on the verification question just now. Can you go over the correct progress or process to have your account quote unquote bulk verified so you can avoid needing the postcard or other means to verify new listings? I am trying to have a hotel client with over 150 listings to gain this status, but the bulk verification isn't really what he wants, as most of the listings are already verified.
No, dude, you want bulk verification. What was the problem? I'm sorry, I was copying and pasting.
He was asking how you get bulk verification.
Oh, how you get bulk verification unlocked. All right, so you have 100 locations. That's fantastic. You meet the threshold. The threshold is 10. If you have 10 verified locations that all have the same name at different addresses, etc., no service area-based businesses, you're a hotel, so it doesn't matter. That's the basics for bulk verification of what you need. So the next thing is you need to be in a location group. Everything should be owned by the email account at the domain name of the hotel. So let's say you're working with Hyatt, or Hyatt Regency, then you have, bulk at HyattRegency.com. That can be fun, by the way, to get done. I just got a big client to do that. And man, I was so happy. It only took like 2 weeks to get it done. Usually it takes like a month because IT has to work on it. Anyway, but the question really, I guess, that comes down to is that, have you read through the bulk verification guidelines? Is the local finder that you have on the website, is that done properly? Because you have to show all the same information on the website. And basically you need to put all those locations that are verified, no suspended ones, into basically that location group. And yeah, I know it can get confusing. I've done about 50 bulk verified accounts, John, and trust me, the first 10, I was banging my head against a bloody wall. So seriously, yeah, I left a mark. But why do you think I'm wearing a hat? It's because of bulk verification. So anyway, but yeah, it can be a pain in the PITA to get done. However, the benefit is immense. Again, we talk about golden tickets. This is one of those golden tickets, because once you get bulk verification, you get the magic ability to add a new location and get verified in 7 seconds. Yes, you heard me right. 7 seconds. I do this for a lot of franchises, and they love it because that's usually the biggest pain point they have is opening new locations. So bulk verification, totally freaking worth it. No, you have to, the rule is you have to include everything that is verified in the bulk account when you're applying. If you only put 10, you'll get denied immediately. You won't even pass go. Yep. Feel free to reach out to me on Twitter if you run into any big issues there, John.
And with that, we are at the end of this week's episode.
Yes, we are.
Thank you, everybody. You need to copy?
I am almost done. Yes, there we go. All right. So thank you, everybody. Season 2 is kicking off to an awesome start. And thanks everybody for coming. We hope you had a good time. The number of questions that we received was amazing. Yeah. So we will make sure that we hit those up after news next week. It's probably going to take half of our episode just to get through all the questions that people still had. So, but thank you all. Have a fantastic weekend. Participate with us in the Facebook group. And if you ever have any questions, of course, feel free to reach out to me or Greg anytime. So with that, peace out, everybody.
Have a stellar weekend.
Bye-bye.